Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. As always, I am your host, Josh Lilquist. In the last segment, we were talking about classes specifically on retirement. So we were talking about I think Al was talking about the average person says they need 1.5 million to retire. That, say they're between 50 and 59, that's what they're going to need. Mm-hmm. But the problem is the study that he was going through said the average person between 50 and 59 only has 77,000 for retirement. So we all know that's not enough. So what's happening is you're seeing people work longer, working into their much older years, not because they want to, because they have to. Now, we talked about those strategies that are designed for retirement, and we have those classes specifically on retirement. So if you're between 50 and 59, or really any age, come to one of these classes specifically on retirement and see what those opportunities are and the strategies that are designed for those retirement accounts. Simply just text the word investing to the number 210-210. Do that right now. Text investing to the number 210-210. That's for 2 seats, one for you and one for a friend, for an investing class specifically on retirement. So, Al, in this last segment here, I want to get into and talk a little bit about the outlook of what it actually looks like as a trader or investor, because I think there's a misconception from movies and TV and internet and all that garbage that's out there about the financial markets, and there's a misconception on how it actually happens and how it works, and it's not as exciting as people may think it is. But to be a trader or an investor, you need a little bit of you need to stay calm, cool, and collective, and that's really what it comes down to. And if you don't have a strategy, it will be difficult to do that. That's why we talk so much about strategy, steps within that strategy, so that way you're just following something step by step, because you can take emotions out of that by doing that, is having a strategy. Mm-hmm. Now, if someone has a trading account, well, it doesn't matter what they're trading, futures, forex, options, stocks, it doesn't matter. And that would be for like an income strategy. You're doing this typically the same type of thing you would be doing for your retirement strategy.
Exactly.
The retirement strategy would be, and I hate saying this word, but because it can be misleading, but more passive, because you're not trading every single day. Right. You're more management of that. And really, if you have a broker or advisor, they're just sitting there holding it anyway, so they're not doing anything with it anyway. Why not do things a little bit differently to have more opportunity during those retirement years? So if you feel like you're short on retirement, do things differently. So just explain how when you have a step-by-step strategy, how that brings the nerves down, because some people get nervous when they're talking about money even, mm-hmm. but let alone managing it. Yeah. How do you remove those emotions with a step-by-step plan?
Yeah, well, you use the words calm, cool, and collective. How do you do that? You have to have the confidence in what you're using, the strategy that you're using. That is key. First of all, you have to have an investment strategy, something that gives you an opportunity to do something other than just guessing and hoping. That's not a strategy. So we help our students do that. Our core strategy is basically a step-by-step process based on a set of rules that you follow. And we talk all the time about the biggest enemy that you have as an investor or trader is yourself. It's the emotions that you have as a human being. You can't help it. You're born with those emotions as a human being. So how do you control them? You have to do something that, as much as possible, takes your brain and your gut out of your trading decisions. You do that by following a set of rules, something that has been proven to work, something that's been put together and refined over the years that gives you the opportunity to be consistent in what you're doing. It's consistency, which means that over time your wins will exceed your losses, your profits will exceed your losses, but also that if you're wrong, that you're protected. And everybody is going to be wrong at some point in time, but you have to be able to do this in a way where that really doesn't matter. It's so small.
Let's address that for a second. You mentioned your wins exceeding your losses. You don't have to be right every single time in fact, trading and investing. So let's clarify that a little bit, sure. Because when you have a step-by-step strategy that's consistent, there's some strategies where you may only need to be correct
Yeah.
3-4 times out of 10 because you have proper capital management.
Correct. Yeah, and there's two ratios. There's that win-loss ratio and there's a reward-risk ratio. And of the two, the most important one is your reward-to-risk ratio. And every professional trader out there will tell you that. They succeed because their wins, the amount of money they make when they win, exceeds what they lose when they're wrong. And that's the part of a good management strategy, is part of a good investment strategy to be able to do that. And you're right, you could make 10 trades and win on 9 of them and still end up losing if the 10th one's big enough.
Correct.
Conversely, you can win or you can lose on 9 of them and still end up winning if the 10th one's big enough. But you shouldn't have to worry about that.
But it's hard to have longevity in the markets if that's the strategy that you're doing.
And longevity is a huge part of doing this. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of people start and end up stopping, because right away, if you don't know what you're doing and you're making decisions based on your opinions or somebody else's opinions instead of what's factually important, you'll make mistakes and eventually get discouraged. So right away, and we mentioned before, start opening a brokerage account. Anybody can do that. That's secondary. The first thing you need to know is the education. Get the knowledge. Have us help you build the skills to use the knowledge, and then maybe do some demo trading. We would like to see you trade, hundreds of times, at least maybe 100 times before you actually start using your own money, so you get used to how to make the proper entry, how to make the right exits, because there's 2 exits to every position, every trade. One is when you're wrong and one is when you're right. They have to be done correctly. Mm-hmm. Most people are just falling into that buy and hold strategy, which is where a broker tells you this is your portfolio, just hold on to it, don't worry about it. And you can actually hold a portfolio. You don't have to make any changes in the holdings, in the stock holdings of that portfolio, but you can use these income assets we're talking about to boost the returns and protect yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's really worth saying this. It's not the size of your retirement account that is important as much as it is the amount of income you can generate off of it. Mm-hmm. That's why those income strategies are so important.
Yeah.
You want to be able to use them.
I like that. Size doesn't always matter, and that's the good thing about the financial markets.
That's
so,
correct.
So Allie, you mentioned a lot of different things there, but people have a lot of questions about the markets.
Yeah.
They just don't understand it, and that just goes back to that financial literacy aspect of it. And I know we're going to be giving away seats to these investing classes specifically on the things that you're talking about there, how to have a strategy, how to follow a strategy, and remove those emotions. We have classes specifically on that. But you teach a lot of these classes. And I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here for a second, but what do you think are some common questions that people come in with? Because if you're listening right now and you have some questions, you're not the only person that has those.
Right.
And sometimes you just don't know how to ask it. So what are some common questions that you have in these classes?
Yeah, well, I mentioned a couple of them before. One is I've done everything that I was supposed to do. Looked at the fundamentals, technical analysis, all that, and I still lose. Why am I losing? Or I have these big profits and then I lose those profits. I listen to the pundits out there. I listen to like the people that run Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan, and those companies, and they tell me what's going to happen in the market this year, and it doesn't happen. What's going on? How can I make sure that when I'm making a decision with my money, that I have the probabilities of being successful in my favor? And that really is the key. Don't look at what your profit's going to be. Don't look at the having to make a big home run every time. Just put the probabilities in your favor of being consistent in your trades. And that's really one of the things we do. And to make it easy, we provide traders that are our instructors that are already successful. They know what works. They know what doesn't work. They will help you. This is hands-on, where you're with somebody who can show you the mistakes you're making and point out the fact that if you're doing something right, that's what you want to continue doing. And you learn from somebody who's already gone through the trials and errors, so you don't have to do that.
Correct, yeah. And it's one of those things where you got to find somebody who knows what they're doing and then do what they do.
Exactly.
And it's just step by step. It's a strategy that's designed to follow what the institutions are doing, so you can do that comfortably and confidently. And it all comes down to, as Al is alluding to, is having odds and probabilities in your favor. That brings that consistency in the financial markets. And Al, it's getting close to the end of the show, and we have classes specifically on how to add odds in your favor, how to have probabilities in the financial markets, whether you have an income strategy account, we'll call it a regular trading account, or you have a retirement account, 401ks, IRAs. How do you increase the probabilities in there to reach those golden years of retirement? So, Alice, the last giveaway here, I want to simply just, if you want to come into one of these classes, just text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats to see the class specifically on odds and probabilities. Text investing to the number 210. We've been talking a lot about financial literacy, and it starts with knowledge and then building the skills. And these classes that people have been coming into here at the Academy has been starting that knowledge. And you have a lot of tips. Let's hear today's OTA, tip of the week.
Well, some people want different things to happen. Some people wish different things would happen. And some people make different things happen. So if your financial future, your family's financial security has a high level of importance to you and you want to make that security happen, make 2024 the year you decide not to follow the herd, not to be average, but the year you decide to take advantage of your potential and the opportunity currently being provided by these markets. We would love to help you make that happen, but it's up to you to take the first step.
I like that. And I went to a couple different high school basketball games this week. One was at the Target Center and the other one was at one of the local schools here. And it was amazing. They actually both had Believe on the back of their shirts. You have to believe you can do it. That's your first step. Come into one of these classes and see what those opportunities are. Simply text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.